May we have a roll call, please?
John Clark,
Here.
Scott Tracy,
Here.
Chris Colbert,
Here.
William Gilbert,
Here.
Patricia Griffin,
Here.
Kirk Martin,
Here.
Bruce Miller.
Here.
Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, which brings us to public comment, where any member of the public may address the Airport Commission on any subject within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not scheduled before them the same day. Total time is 15 minutes. Do we have any speaker slips?
I don't have any speaker slips.
Notices that on Thursday, July 12th, 2012 at 5 p.m., the Airport Commission Secretary duly posted this agenda on the bulletin board at Airport Administration. And the next subject is one of minutes. Do we have a,
I'll move for approval.
thank you,
And I'll second that.
and waive the reading and approve the minutes. Waive the reading.
Thank you.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This brings us briskly to the consent calendar. Any questions, comments, needs to abstain, or anything like that?
I move we accept the consent calendar.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded. Those in favor of the approving the consent calendar?
Aye.
Aye. I got to lead him on that one. And, which brings us to liaison reports. Did I see a, yes, there he is, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair, while
Yes.
Councilmember Aceves is coming up, I notice we have a slight error on the agenda.
Okay. What did I leave out?
I was going to comment on that. I know I missed a
We
couple of
didn't
meetings.
replace
I guess you voted to replace me. So may I ask for reconsideration on the prior vote?
And Randy's working both sides of the fence.
I tell
obviously,
you.
so it's-
We do have two positions open. I didn't know he was running for Arcolita
That's
City
funny.
Council.
And I sat and read it and didn't see it, so
My apologies.
we apologize.
That's okay. The cover sheet is correct. It does have
okay.
a list on the cover sheet. So
Very well.
I had to look at it twice to make sure that I was supposed to be here tonight. But I do apologize for being.
There is no scarring, is there?
Pardon me?
There's no scarring.
No.
You'll be okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for,
I care.
yes, thank you. Well, things are happening in Goleta. A lot of things are happening in Goleta. We have more projects in the planning that we can even handle. So we're going through some reorganization. We did lose our planning director. He moved to the city of Stockton, which is currently going bankrupt. But, you know, I wish him well.
Yeah.
So we're currently recruiting for a planning director. I'm recruiting for a new city attorney, assistant city attorney. So things are happening as far as in the HR part. But if you look around town, we have a new roundabout that just started construction at Los Caneros and Carriel. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be raised with some nice plantings, and so that'll be the first of 5 that the city of Goleta will have after we're all done with construction. The hotel on Stork is about done. Should open sometime August or September. And for those of you that are interested, Pier 1 is opening. So go visit Pier 1 at Camarial Marketplace. And then if you go, say in about 3 weeks, you could actually walk next door and go to Bevmo and take home some wine. Other than that, the San Jose Creek is on time, on the schedule, and on budget, which is nice when you talk about a multi-million-dollar project, as you guys know. So it's nice to get a report from staff that everything's on time and on budget. So I think that's it. I would be glad to answer any questions that you have of me. And
A comment, I was able to go to the Stowe House for the music in the park.
what'd you
And
think?
It was a success. Very nice event.
Well, it is
lot of
so
families.
popular, they're now starting parking next door in the vacant church lot, so.
You may need a larger venue soon.
Well, it's a fundraiser for the Stowe House. We don't want to go from there. But thank you for attending, and that's the first of, I believe, 5 concerts or 6 concerts, so thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Before we get to I was just handed something by Commissioner Colbert. On the report of item 4, there needs to be a decimal point in front of 15. It's at $15 a square foot, which I think is probably a little extreme.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Oh, I got the wrong.
Pesky decimal point.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
All right. Thank
So
you for-
noted.
Yeah, well, nice to correct it for the record.
Which brings us to the administrative report.
Okay, the item before you tonight is the T-hanger waiting list policy revisions, and last month we had just very briefly discussed a kind of very minor little change. But I would recommend that we take out the whole reference to a lottery in terms of selecting applicants to be on the waiting list. And that is what the proposal is for this evening. And then there's a copy of the document with the portions that we're recommending that be deleted. So it asks for your concurrence. I think most of you know that our waiting list has really dwindled to, I don't know if we have anybody on, we have nobody on it right now. And we have one vacancy, and we have one vacant hanger. With the economy, we've really seen a turnover in the list. Everybody that wanted a hanger got one. And then as the economy took hold, we lost some people. So I think by not having the lottery, we'll be able to react more quickly when people do apply for the waiting list. And if there's an available hanger, rent them the hanger, and there won't be any lag time. So I would recommend that we just eliminate the lottery requirement from the T-hanger waiting list provisions.
Questions, comments, thoughts?
It seems very economical, both
And
fiscally
prudent.
and procedurally.
Yes.
Prudence.
It's something you've wanted since the beginning.
We're all missing the,
Oh, I know, I know.
Page.
I'm
but
sure we could find something.
we can get over it, won't we?
I would certainly make a motion that we approve the amendment to the T-hanger waiting list procedures as proposed.
Seconded.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we approve the recommendation. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Straight on to the director's report.
Okay. All right, our passenger count for June was up 6.4% compared to June of last year. I'm sure a big contributor to that was Portland, adding the Portland service. We're down, so that helped moderate what we're down year to date, which is 1.4% as of June. So that's good news. Hopefully July will continue, and we're thrilled, to say the least. Other items I'd like to point out on the director's report, the Master Plan Advisory Committee met on July 11th. They looked over the demand, capacity, and facilities chapters of the master plan so far. And for those either in the audience or yourselves that would like to review any of the documents, they're on our website. There's a master plan link that goes to our master plan website. And all the documents, the PowerPoint presentations are all posted on there. So, and notes from the meeting, past meetings. This fall, we'll have a consultant come out and give the full commission a briefing on where we are to date, because after that, we'll start developing some of the alternatives for people to comment on. So the first part is kind of the technical stuff. It's the inventory, kind of facilities that we have, capacity, how much the runways are used, and are we near capacity or not capacity, that type of thing. But I think the fun part will get into the actual alternatives and having a discussion about those. So look forward to the briefing in the fall, and we'll move on from there. I don't know if any of the committee members have anything they want to add.
Well, it was a small but interested and seemingly enthusiastic public workshop.
Yeah.
At the attendees. And as you said, it's been essentially a very technical exercise to this point, with basically assembling the inventory, the demand, so forth. And I think there'll be a lot more interest as plans really start developing, and there'll be some tangible
Right.
things for the public to really look at and evaluate.
Right.
And also, I'd say that the Kaufman, they're doing a remarkable job of assembling really a tremendous amount of detail. I think the binder's like about this thick now and getting thicker all the time. So an amazing resource for to help guide the airport for the next 10 years or thereabouts.
Right. So I would encourage you, if you are interested, especially if you're a technical kind of person, you might enjoy reading some of the more technical data. Maybe even those of you that are pilots might enjoy it even more. For some, it might put you to sleep, but it is kind of interesting. So we're moving along. We're on schedule. The consultant has been very good about keeping us on schedule. The committee, I think attendance by all the various parties has been very, very good, and their comments. So I was very pleased with the process so far.
I was going to ask, is there a method for the public to make suggestions other than attending the meetings?
Yes,
scheduled?
they can make
Comments.
on our website too, right?
Uh-huh.
They can make on our website, plus at the public or the workshops, we have, forms that they can just write their comments on if they want to. So there's a couple of ways that they're able to do that. Or they can email us directly, right, Carl? Let's see, the Terminal Public Arts Program, the joint meeting, as you know, with the Visual Arts and Public Places Committee, ABR, and Airport Commission regarding the Pierre Clison's Marine Tribute was canceled because of the VAP agenda was overfull, apparently. So we will reschedule that. If I can do it in August, I will. Otherwise, it'll be September before that happens.
In today's news press, there's a letter to the editor written by me, and it was written right after our last meeting. I don't know why it took them so long to print it, unless they happened to read what was on the schedule or the remark about meeting the other group. The letter's purpose was to voice displeasure of the proposed Marine Memorial at the new terminal by the residents and me. As an alternate suggestion, I proposed moving the memorial at Fowler to the terminal instead, and stated there had been vandalism. I have been assured that there has not been any vandalism. I took cleanup, and I thought I heard of graffiti and put too harsh a word to it to press my zeal to push my issues. I apologize very much. I apologize. Mrs. Ramsdale also reminded me that the memorial was put there so people would not have to pay parking to see it. I've made it a habit to go there at various times, and there are people watching the airplanes land. I don't know if they notice the memorial. You got to drive right through it, or even look at it, or what, but they're there. The people that talked to me about their dislike to the proposal memorial didn't care if we moved to the old one or not. If we lose this issue, and a proposed memorial is constructed, at least we will have the satisfaction they'll have to pay for parking to see it. But I thank you, and I do apologize. I don't know why I had forgotten all about that since it was about 4 weeks ago.
Not a problem. Also to remind you that council will hear your recommendation regarding naming the terminal on Tuesday. Their meeting starts at 2 o'clock in council chambers, and any of you that are available to attend, and in case council has questions about your recommendation or you'd like to speak to the issue, I would welcome you to be there.
Is there a time certain on it?
Well, it's the only administrative item.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it'll be, very shortly at
Yeah,
2:30-ish probably.
thank you.
The terminal project is coming along. The historic terminal is being plastered as we speak. It's really taking shape and I think it's looking very beautiful and will be beautiful when it finishes. One of the comments in the update for this item notes that the short-term parking lot is paved, but it's closed, and that is true, and it's kind of an issue because people see it and wonder, well, it's done, why can't I park there? Well, unfortunately, in the short-term or time frame, the parking office is in the historic terminal, or will be in the historic terminal. The computer equipment that controls the revenue control system for taking credit cards and monitoring, all the financial transactions is in the parking, or will be in the parking office. And of course, the old terminal is not done yet. So that's why the lot is not usable at this point. But hopefully we keep pushing the contractor and the engineers to try and at least, even if we could get that portion of the building done so that we could install the parking equipment, that would be helpful. But it kind of is what it is at this point. We're close, but not quite close enough. So I wanted to point that out. And then any final landscaping that around the historic terminal or other areas that haven't been completed yet because there's construction going on, that will be completed as well. And I think that's about it on our director's report. If you have any other questions?
I guess I was going to just add one item related to the new terminal and the master plan development that was kind of intriguing, was that they did spend a bit of effort in analyzing the utilization of the new terminal and trying to project that out. And I think it really speaks a lot to the planning that did go into it, even though, as we know, there was some value engineering done to make it smaller. But it certainly speaks to the fact that it was not particularly oversized as it was, which I think was the concern a lot of people had expressed. And in fact, there are already some areas that are impacted. Other areas, they were clearly, sized for the future. So it's a very interesting part of the study at this point to look at that and see where the new building, was right on target for a lot of that demand and the growth projected.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't mean to beat this parking thing to death, but it intrigues me. So the short-term parking lot is not operating because of the equipment that's lacking in the new facility. Short of that, the existing lots are being run independently of the short-term lot, and there was no way to piggyback on the existing infrastructure. My concern is just lack of, loss of revenue, like yours, of course.
Right. No, there's no way to
Piggyback
No.
on that.
I don't know of any. Yeah,
They have to have the equipment first.
yeah,
and
they
that's
have.
not in.
Yeah, and they have to have the building available, the terminal available to even be able to install the, computer equipment, and then the companion equipment that is put in the parking lot itself that communicates with the computer equipment
Mhm.
will also be put, installed at the same time, so.
Okay.
I think we're just unfortunately stuck for this period of time, short period of time, so.
Technology.
Believe me, Hazel has pushed.
Mr. Geis, no, yes. I noticed that Councilmember Rouse is here. Would you like to say a few words, or? I was going to introduce him as the new councilman from Goleta, but that's an inside joke now.
I
So
told Mr. Savies that I've stepped up, and no, actually, Director Ramsdell kind of said it all. We're going to be going for that next week. I know what the pleasure of the commission is and isn't at this point in time, and been getting a lot of lobbying, a lot of calls, and a few letters from some pretty interesting people about what they want to do with the airport name. I know that I've kind of settled on Ramsdell Regional, but I guess I'm not sure. So we will be hearing that next week. There really isn't a lot else on the agenda. Boy, I don't know what we're going to do with it. Yeah, it could be a long one. I don't know. So there are some speakers that are lined up to come in and speak to it. So hopefully some support from the commission. That'd be great if you could have anybody come. And that's really about it. That's all we have coming up. Council was very pleased, by the way, to hear about the Portland route and its success. That's very encouraging and hopefully bodes well for the future of those kinds of situations. All right, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any? Can I entertain a motion?
I move for adjournment.
Second.
Everybody in favor of that?
Aye.
Yes, sir.
We are adjourned.